Wrestling. I'm Chris. He's Bradie. And Bradie, I want to ask you about your opinion on NXT. And more importantly, and I want to say this before we get into this, because at the time of this recording, we are about to go into NXT's PLE.
Wait, we're going? I thought we just said we weren't going to go.
No, we're not going.
Well, we got invited to go.
Yeah. I mean, we're not physically going. I mean,
okay.
As a whole, as a community, we're getting ready to go into this.
I was going to say, because we're cutting it real close if we're going.
100%.
Yeah.
But we do not know the results of this, but there is a main event. There is a 4-way main event. And NXT is kind of in a weird position right now because, I don't know, it seems like some of the writing in NXT is not as strong as it could be.
But it has an excuse.
Okay.
It's a developmental brand, right?
Careful. That could be challenging. And the last thing you want to be is developmentally challenged.
You see, that's all you wanted to do. I was wondering what direction you were going in. I was like, wait a second, I'm not saying anything. You just wanted to make a joke about me being mentally handicapped.
I didn't say anything about you being mentally handicapped this time.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, I think they're in a situation where, yes, there's a trial and error thing that goes on in NXT. Okay. Which is weird when you have Becky Lynch holding the belt 1 month and then it's back in the hands of a developmental talent or a talent that's being seasoned, I should say, for the main roster. But yes, they have gotten themselves in a bunch of situations. I think there's some things going on there where they're into the shock value. And then they're like, okay, once the shock value is done, they're like, what the fuck do we do with this now?
Okay.
So I think we're in that situation with the main event anyway. Why do you think it went from like a one? Because this should be Trick versus Ethan Page, one-on-one.
Right.
It was building up to that. It looked like that's what the story was saying. And then we just kind of had Shawn Spears thrown in and the other gentleman, the young kid. Why?
Javon Evans.
Why?
Well, you want my opinion?
Oh, well, fuck, I'm not asking for your journalistic approach.
All right. Well, because I ain't got to know that. Here's my opinion on it. I think that Ethan Page, once acquired, had gotten over there. And I think that they all realized, I think that all parties involved maybe realized that there's still some growing to be done for Ethan Page to be inside of that atmosphere, that program, that kind of workhorse that is NXT. Right. And maybe they realized that, wait, we can still take it in this kind of a direction, but maybe we need to skew this a little bit. And in doing so, they had to add layers because you know how it works in wrestling. When you need to cover something up, you add a layer to it. And that's what they did with this main event is they added layers to it. And a 3-way would have just been like, oh, you just threw another body in there. But make it in a 4-way. Now the lead up to it for that couple of weeks that they have the ability to muddy the waters, so to speak, a little bit more, right? So that maybe you don't know what's going on. But
by the time people listen to this, the event will already be over. And whatever we're saying, like you can go into the comment sections or you guys can, the hindsight is obviously 2020. You're going to be like, you guys got that wrong. But what do you think? What do you think happens here at the end of the night? My prediction, personally, I think that Trick Williams is on his way to one of the main roster spots. So I think they have to take the belt off him. I don't know if it's going to be tonight, but I have a good feeling that it might be.
Well, here's the thing. Just going into it, leading up to it, I think that Ethan Page already has another story that he's involved with outside of the Trick Williams stuff. I think that you're right. I think that the time to call Trick Williams up is there. I think he deserves to, listen, somebody needs to see those Carmelo Hayes, Trick Williams, feuds all over again.
Those are so
Carmelo Hayes. Carmelo Hayes needs somebody really like that to work with too, right?
It's nuts how those guys blend so well together, whether they're tagging or they're working against each other. It's just a perfect combo, those two.
Yeah. And putting the belt onto another babyface Just doesn't make that kind of sense. What are you doing? Okay, so for all of you audio listeners,
Sorry.
getting up in the middle of my sentence here, walking over to the door to tell his assistant to F off. Everything good now?
Life ain't perfect. Life's a work. Let's do this.
All right. Like I was saying before you were so rudely interrupted, I said that putting the belt onto a baby face doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to get as many legs out of it. Everybody knows old school booking. You put it onto a heel. That way you can have the baby face kind of making the run.
Mm-hmm.
Also live in this era where people were trying to make that the cool heel, right? That's why you have a Rhodes champion. That's why you have Trick Williams as a champion. That's why you have a Swerve Strickland as a champion. They're trying to make that cool heel, or that cool baby face, I should say.
Cool babyface heelish tweener.
But traditionally, and this is something that NXT really does need because they've got a lot of babyface champions. They need to have somebody who can carry that as a heel. So out of that four-way, the obvious choice, in my opinion, would be Shawn Spears. I think that Shawn he has all of the things that you need checked off. He has the ability to be beat, which means that he has to have the ability to cheat to keep the championship. He has veteran status. He's been in all of those companies. He's been down the road. And his character right now is he's back here to show these young guys how to do it, to help them, to develop them. I don't know. Maybe some would call that a learning tree. Yeah. But Shawn Spears is a guy who's actually still looks his age, and he can go out there and get these guys over. I think that Shawn is the choice to be a champion in NXT because now you have somebody who's hateable, somebody who can work, somebody who can cheat, somebody who shows vulnerability so that you can bring him to that precipice of, oh, he's just about to be beat. Damn it. Now he's, squeaks one out again.
As two guys doing this show who have both been in there and ran the ropes and wrestled Bradie, who's Shawn Spears.
Yeah.
Would that not be the greatest fucking thing ever to see him pull that title down tonight, just as being his buddy?
I would love that.
I'd mark the fuck out, and I'm looking for things to mark out for because I don't get to mark out as much as I used to, and that would be something so great.
But more importantly, about my own selfish, needs and wants for something like that to happen, I think that it's the smart thing to do as far as business goes.
It is.
So you're either keeping Trick Williams, in my opinion, you're either keeping Trick Williams down in NXT. Not that that's a punishment by any stretch of the.
You don't mean down. You just mean they're always talking about getting called up. So obviously it's going to be down. Yeah,
100%. I think that you're not doing to him as much of a service to himself or your company by keeping him in NXT. And you allow the people that have the ability to put the young guys over, get that belt, still having some credibility and some meaning to it. Shawn Spears is the guy to do that.
No, what happens if they put the belt on Paige tonight? Where do you think they go from there?
I think that Paige still has to run this. He's got this angle going on with one of these other guys in NXT. Forgetting his name right now, but who has been banned from the PLE. He's been banned from going to Canada, apparently, which, in my opinion, as well as I do, when you hear that means he's going to show up and screw somebody over. And we just saw it happen with, the CM Punk stuff and Drew McIntyre. That seems to be happening great.
Happened last night, yeah.
So I think that you're going to see something like that happen, and that keeps him out of the picture.
In a perfect world, here's what I see. That happens. Trick goes up to the main roster. Ronnie sneaks the belt, sneaks it out, and does it totally like a heel. And then the person to take the belt off of Ronnie and sets up a interpromotion feud is I believe in Joe Hendry. You'd only need it for 2 weeks, and it would have the entire internet blowing up if he took that title and went back to NXT with it, or went back to TNA with the NXT title for a couple of weeks. It'd be fantastic. Then give the guy a full-time job, because we believe in Joe Hendry here. We believe.
There's 2 things that I would like to see if they're going to keep doing this NXT crossover stuff with TNA. I would like to see Joe Hendry involved more, and I want to see a reunion of the Rascals. I think that's
coming.
Something that needs to happen as well.
Do you want to see a reunion of the Monster Mafia or the North, as they were called in TNA?
No.
All right. And with that said, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to get to a whole bunch of fucking trouble here on the Law Live Audio Wrestling.
SolidFanClub.ca gives you full access to Canada's leader in professional wrestling, featuring legends like Mick Foley, modern megastars such as Cody Deaner, and future sensations like Tyler Turva. RockSolidFanClub.ca offers exclusive series, podcasts, live streams, specials, and full events, all for less than $9 a month. Sign up today at RockSolidFanClub.ca, where real fans get it.
Be sure to click that subscribe button, click that like button, and tell all of your friends. Share it with everybody. We appreciate you just as much as you appreciate us. So let's make this thing even bigger.